I fell crazy in love with Jak and Daxter, and here's why. More so than any other genre, 3D platformers have a unique way of immersing me in their world. At their best, every piece of the environment, collectibles, and even the enemies form a cohesive unity that guides you through discovering their worlds and accomplishing challenges. This is even more enhanced when those individual worlds are not just separated parts that the player has to beat in order to jump into the next one, but rather are connected and feel like they all belong in the same universe these goofy characters inhabit. The go-to example for this will be Super Mario Sunshine. Al Delfino feels immersive because every level exists in the same location, and therefore are connected to the overall world. You can even see elements from other levels in the distance, wherever you are. But I'd argue something like Mario Galaxy also does this successfully, even if every planet you visit is different, not necessarily connected, and has its own unique set of creative challenges to beat. There's an aesthetic coherence to them that links them despite their differences, and really make me feel like they belong to the Mario cosmos the game creates. This is something I feel has been lost in modern 3D platformers. Not that I play them all, but two of my recent favorites are certainly lacking in this department. Great as they are, neither Mario Odyssey nor Crash 4 succeed in this regard. Don't get me wrong, the levels themselves are beautiful and fun to navigate, but what does Ruined Kingdom have to do with New Dawn City, or Bowser's Kingdom for that matter? They all seem to come from different games, and yeah, more visual variety is great, but as it is, it's distracting at best and immersion breaking at worst. Of course, world building can't be everything to a platformer, but there's only so much you can improve on the tried and true formula of jumping on a platform to grab a power-up, to then grab a star, ring, or puzzle piece or whatever random collectible. So having a big thematically unified world to jump around in really pushes a platformer to true greatness as far as I'm concerned, and I never expected Jak and Daxter to succeed so tremendously in that regard. First, a little backstory. Having never owned a PS2 or PS3, from the outside, the Jak and Daxter games always seemed like Ratchet & Clank's weird, less successful little cousins. They didn't have as many games as the Insomniac developed Duo, and didn't seem to be plastered all over Sony and PlayStation marketing as they were. So to me they were this little oddity that never managed to achieve the same level of success critically, commercially, and culturally that Crash Bandicoot, the previous Naughty Dog creation, did. I mean, hell, it didn't even seem to hit the hype marks of other Sony-owned or Sony-adjacent series like Spyro, God of War, or Twisted Metal. I was, of course, horribly wrong. And discovering the game when I'm old enough to really appreciate every intricacy of its finely tuned design is as much of a blessing as it is a damn shame that I missed out for so long. The original Crash Bandicoot trilogy is one of my favorite video game series ever. So coming back to a Naughty Dog developed platformer after 20 years of having last played one, I was of course expecting a similarly linear adventure with a lot of wacky humor. The latter I got in spades. This half aboriginal, half steampunk world is packed to the brim with characters and gags that would make Shock Jones proud. But I was truly surprised to find myself into what was, in essence, a fully open world with seamless level transitions. Yes, there's your typical lava world, an ice world, a swamp with deadly water, but everything is connected in a way that feels logical. Like, of course, a beachside village would have boats that can take you to the nearby island filled with pirates. Of course, I would need to go into the mountains from the swamp to find a lava mine, where I could either go down into a dark, spider-infested cave, or I could take a tram up to the snowy peak. This all made for a world that was easy to immerse myself into and have a blast exploring. But of course, this is a platformer, and it wouldn't be much fun exploring if the basic tools to do so, i.e. your moveset, didn't work. And that is exactly what this is, very basic at its core. You've got your double jump, your basic attack, you can roll around into a larger jump, and it's all very natural to pull off. It's very seamlessly linked from one movement to the next one. I don't necessarily think it gives the player a variety of options to overcome the challenges it puts you in, but it still feels very good when you can accomplish an objective, or reach that annoying collectible that you couldn't find to 100% the area you're in. This core simplicity translates to the progression of the game. There's no masked power-up to give you gravity-defying skills, or enemy possession skills unlock after a certain level. no wing unlockable to fly around the world with. What you start with is basically what you're stuck with during the whole game. And because the difficulty is very consistent, and again, the world is incredibly fun to explore, I never missed any of that. What we do have is a few vehicle sections spread around. They're short, self-contained into small areas, and they're more of an extension of the level exploration, instead of an innovative change of pace, but they work perfectly fine. Another thing that is pretty straightforward is the story. It's a simple enough tale of corrupted mages trying to take over the world, using a magical thingamajig that is spread all over the levels, and you must collect to get to them. It's a decent enough excuse to get you from point A to point B and collect everything you find on the way. Besides the world itself, the real meat of the game is in the characters you meet along the way. Even if only the titular heroes and their two pals play an important role in the story, there's a fair share of memorable, wacky, hilarious characters. From the hippie sculptor with a creepy obsession with his feline muse, to the stinky, always laughing like a maniac fisherman, the inhabitants of this world never fail to get a laugh out of me and make me wish they were utilized more in the narrative. That's not to say everything is perfect. Not every mission hits the mark 100%. Herding cows in Sentinel Island is a drag. I failed the fishing minigame in Booty Swamp more times than I care to admit, and I probably could have done without the entire spider cave, which to me is the least visually exciting of all the levels, and had the most frustrating missions, enemies and collectibles. But nothing really breaks the pacing ever. Anytime I felt annoyed trying to collect the power cells in the spider cave, I would just go to the snowy mountain or precursor basin to 100% those areas and then come back, never breaking the immersion with a feeling of having failed by having to go back to an overworld or a level select screen. There's really not much more to unpack. At its core, Jak and Daxter is a game that is absolutely confident with what it is, and successfully achieves every goal its developers set. It's a satisfying experience from start to finish. It was even hard to get angry when I died because Daxter always jumped in with a funny quip to keep me engaged and motivate me to give this jump or that mission another try.
Don't step into the light, Jak! Don't step into the light!
Ultimately, the game is just fun, man. Any other way to describe it would be to overcomplicate a feeling that is very uncomplicated, and that would go against everything the game is. When I replayed chunks of it to record the material for this video, I was dangerously close to just go through the whole thing again. I loved it so much that I went for the full 100% and the Platinum Trophy, which is something that my schedule rarely allows me to do, even for games like this, which are relatively simple to complete. It truly is one of the best 3D platformers I've ever played. Playing this, I felt nostalgic for a time when simplicity didn't mean to sacrifice quality, or be cheap or setting for vibes in lieu of a finely crafted experience, like so many games that confuse simplicity for plainness do nowadays. And that's the end of the video. I'm really looking forward now to play Jak 2, even if I don't end up making a video about it. It's not really my goal to make a video from everything I play, or to just play games to make videos out of them. I guess time will tell on that front. If you'd like to find out, then please subscribe and do all the YouTube algorithm things that everyone loves to plug. Catch you on the next one.